We're ready whenever you are, Bill.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. We're on the clock, so I will call this meeting to order. DeKalb County Commissioners, the date is April 3rd, 2023. Mic's on, everybody, and away we go.
Away
Morning,
we go.
Dottie.
That's right. Okay, people of a certain age will remember Jackie Gleason, and away we go. Okay, well, just to follow up from the conversation that we had last week about the cameras or security, things like that in the 9th Street Annex, I have made my contacts with all of the affected parties. Jack is going to look into cameras and card readers, ID card readers for entrances, and the sheriff's office is, happy to have another, couple cameras on for their security. They already do come over and they look at the offices. They make their rounds, but, just a little added whatever, and already informed Larry also. So, well, making progress. It's what I had hoped. At least we opened up the conversation, and probation would be very happy to have a little bit more over there, as you can imagine. So, keeping you up to date, we had last Tuesday, we had 44 participants in the wellness event, and that was up from 37 from last year. So, yay, bonus.
Progress.
It was good. And boy, was it slick. We keep
Yes.
hearing comments. Susan, you were there, and
Was much better than
so much better.
Yes.
Just that third phlebotomist, nurse, whatever, just really helped a lot. The registration was very quick. We only had 2 little snafus. We had somebody who had canceled online, that it didn't go through for us on our paperwork, and we had somebody who had signed up and they didn't have the paperwork. So, but we got through that. They took care of them, and we didn't have to worry about taking any extra money. There was the opportunity to upgrade from the plan that we the county was going to pay for, and employees could bump it up a little bit, an extra $25 for this, that, and the other thing. And Parkview took care of with their card reader, whatever. So we didn't have to do any of that. Yay. Practically turnkey, except that, we had kind of traffic control. Lindsay was down at the table, registration, making sure people got the right forms and things. So I think overall it was a win-win-win. We were very happy, and it seems like the comments that we're getting back from people, very happy. So yeah. The cybersecurity training policy went out to all of our employees, and we're getting an awful lot back. So that's great. Just check, make sure that the ones that are out there are coming back. So I kind of gave a long time frame, April the 21st, to get them back. We have vacations and, the spring breakers and things like that. So
I will mention, I mentioned it to Jack last week. I got a phishing, it was a DocuSign.
Oh.
Yeah, come in DocuSign, sign this, Yeah, well, not expecting a DocuSign to be signed, and so, I didn't open it up. But yeah, just they try everything. They try everything.
Truly. So, I had a discussion with somebody the other day about their company and what they do, and not that much. So we are definitely on the cutting edge, I think, when it comes to our cybersecurity training. We have a job classification subcommittee meeting tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, in the 9th Street Annex and we'll be discussing the maintenance associate's position. That's been a long time coming. and one over at the sheriff's office, the ones at community corrections also. And so we'll, it's a full agenda. In addition to, the subcommittee is going to look at an extremely well thought out, Susan, spreadsheet on paid time off and how much it would cost the county if we were to pay out PTO at anniversary dates instead of carryover, or in addition to a carryover, whatever. There are lots of scenarios, and she just put together a great spreadsheet. So that's going to be a topic of discussion. And on Wednesday, the 8th, at 8 o'clock, we will have a department heads meeting. So if anybody can make that, it would be wonderful. Recruitment, I am so happy to report with the sheriff's office. We have a need for, as you know, we haven't had a third security officer downstairs, and that has been a bit of a logistical, nightmare for them. So they started advertising just last week. We had loads of applicants for that position. So, and the person will have to go through basically the same sorts of hurdles that applicants go through for confinement officer. So, great. As a matter of fact, yesterday, Ben Rice got back to me, and because I said, I knew how many I had gotten inquiries, and so I didn't know how many he had gotten on his own, and said, would you like us to pause that posting for a while until you kind of digest all the ones that you get, and the people that actually responded and, are sending back their application packets. There's several things that, numbers that we're talking about. The inquiries are one thing, but the people who actually follow through and turn their application back in. And so we're going to pause it for a while to see what, the quality and what he has. So confinement officers, we are doing so well. We still need a couple more, knock wood, and we have one good one in the pipeline right now. And plenty of, a good number of applicants for that, but once again, once they actually, do the application and they get into the process, you kind of weed out. So it's, the funnel, really funnels them down. And then for the road deputies or the merit officers, we had 2 start last week. We did onboarding, and we have 2 more this go round. And Chief said that it might be May when they're able to bring those other 2 on. If they, yes. So that would be fabulous. Yeah. I'm just really, it's making my tummy feel a whole lot better about that office over there. Susan, the auditor's office, has a clerk opening over there. Her posting is still up until the end of this week, so I think she's gotten some decent. You've gotten quite a few resumes.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens with that. Highway maintenance, we still have that posting out. And unfortunately, Ben hasn't had a mad rush to his office to fill out applications. So we'll just keep plugging away and see what happens with that. But he did have a new person start last week before. And so that's good. That's good. But he's still kind of down, and will be with, a retirement or 2 coming up.
Right,
So we
right.
just, you just keep your line in the water and see who bites. The health department, they are still looking at a nurse. They have their nurse opening. They have 1 interview on Wednesday. But they've had some, I don't know, since I refreshed and kind of updated the posting, she's gotten some actual nurses, RNs, responding to the posting. And it's not always the case. When you ask for something and you may have an LPN, you may have a CNA, it's like, no, the job description says RN, so that's good. The environmental inspector will start next week, and so that's wonderful. Yay. That person was able to, they're selling their house elsewhere, moving here, and they found a house here. So unheard of to find a house in Auburn and one that they wanted and in the price range and blah, 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 all that stuff. So it came together.
Wow.
I know. So originally we had it set up so that the person would start this week, but due to all of those moving parts, and Cheryl and her department are like, we're just happy you're on your way. There's light at the end of that tunnel, and then Bernie and Kathy can get this person, starting training. So that'll be great. Change Academy, they have right now the one part-time facilitator out there, and I think they have 2 viable candidates right now that they are looking at and taking care of interviews. And the residential side, they have a full-time residential officer opening. So they've been getting some pretty good candidates on that one. So, and what I'm kind of doing is those individuals who are applying for something in the sheriff's office, then we send an email back out to them. Hey, in case you didn't know, we also have an opening with community corrections if you're at all interested. I'm trying to, yeah, it's called networking. Anyway, so doing a lot of that, a little hands-on stuff. So we are, oh my goodness, I want to give a shout out to Lindsay and Teresa, who worked just diligently on a spreadsheet for Apex for, to take a look at our, when Anthem gets the claims and looking at all of our employees. And it's just a boatload of information that we don't always have in LAO, our payroll HR system. We don't know who has dependents if they are not on the health plan. And even if they are on the health plan, sometimes their dependents aren't on our health plan. And, so there's some things that we didn't, you just don't know. So, but they did a really great job getting whatever information. And also Carolyn helped. We tried to pull together 2 different spreadsheets, one from Anthem and one from Apex, and trying to make one, and LAO, and that was a lot of fun. But we pulled in an IT expert to help us out with that, so that was great. Speaking of IT, that's another, Carolyn's position is another one that we are going to be looking at with the Job Classification Subcommittee. They, Jack and Carolyn and I have looked at what is currently known as the help desk, and what she currently does is a lot more than just, what is on the job description. So they took a look at that, all the extra things that she does. It's not just, calling in and, having an employee call in and say, hey, I'm having a problem with this, and her fixing it. No, she actually goes out. She's the one who takes care of our, the internet, whenever we have postings. Hey, could you post that until whatever? Oh, could you take that one down? We already, we're putting that one on hold. Just, a lot of other things, a lot more technical than, my stuff, but things that she does there. So that's another position that they're going to be looking at. Probably it won't change her classification on our wage study, but it definitely is more reflective of the duties that she does on a daily basis. And unfortunately, Jack, due to a lot of things that happened over the weekend with computer systems and things, Jack's not able to come in and talk about what he wanted to talk about. We've had several discussions about, in his office starting, early last year about secession plan, and there's no secession really, we had to then hire a new jail IT person, and, we have a retirement coming up the middle of this year. We have just a lot of moving parts in that department, and I know he wanted to talk to you about a couple things, and one of them is something that one of my HR network people said that they had a committee that talked about, made up of several different people, management, HR, or computer decisions that are made, and long-range plans, capital improvements, things like that. And so I passed that on to Jack, and I go, oh, that's kind of a neat idea, having a commissioner, a council person, a couple department heads, people from the IT department. And he said, well, we used to have that. The last time was 2007 was the last meeting that they had, and so I think he'd like to get that started again. Give a little bit more, kind of spread the information around, and what could best help, rather than just having, well, IT, we're going to do this, but he's not like that at all. But just having more input, I think, might be good. So I know. Hopefully he'll be here next week and be able to talk about that one, and then his staffing needs. That department, if you want that hands-on customer service, the quality of customer service that everybody gets, we may have to think about another person in IT. Going forward. So I know that he'd like your input on that too. So anyway, that I think is all. I checked off all of my boxes that I have, and things moving right along. So what do you guys have for me?
Todd, anything for Dottie?
No, sounds like we're doing well on getting some folks hired, though, especially in the sheriff's and confinement.
Yeah.
Makes me happy.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
We're starting to see that turn that I was hoping we would see, where people are looking for jobs a little bit. And I know it's not abundant, but it's positive at least. We're going in the right direction now.
We are, and they're the right
People, too.
quality, the
Yeah.
right experience, the
great.
background. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Great.
Makes everybody's job a little easier, a little more pleasant. I mean, you put
Yeah.
the request out there and nobody answers. That's like, well, what's the point?
Crickets. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, anything for Dottie?
Not a thing.
I have just one thing, and it's kind of for everybody. Got this big ad in the paper last week, all in color, and it involves health insurance. It'll involve maybe our policy that's coming up. And it's a surgical center. It is the Lake George Surgical Center.
Oh, yes. Yep, exactly. Right up there at the strip mall.
Yeah,
The outlet mall.
Not the strip mall.
The outlet mall up there, yes.
Where's that at?
Right there at Fremont.
Fremont
Yeah,
Outlets,
I-69
120.
and 8090.
That's
Yeah.
what they're, oh, okay.
They've been there actually for a while. On the north side.
Oh. I wonder what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, the ad says up to 50% less than traditional hospital. For all
Yep.
kinds, they got 4 different specialists in there.
Yep.
Do surgery, do replacements.
So
What was that called?
50% of infinity.
What, is
Lake
it
George
Lake?
Surgery Center.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
I come in, it'd be a good thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's another one of those sort of standalones that, we're always told that the standalones are the ones where you'll get your discount, better pricing, and
I assume it's surgeons that are tired of the same old, well, you got to work for a certain hospital or to survive this. They've opened this clinic, low overhead, no doubt. I don't think the rent is a premium up there anymore. They've lost a lot of stores. So,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Ghost town.
yeah, so
Yep.
you need to come to the mic.
I just gonna say, they're all from Coldwater. They're all Michigan people. All these doctors are all Michigan.
Turn the mic on.
They're all doctors out of Coldwater. They're out of Michigan.
Hopefully they're not using Ginzu knives to save money and they're,
Only in your
They're
case.
the ones that you can get from the outlet over there, yeah. I also, speaking of that same outlet mall, I heard that Jalapenos, the Mexican restaurant here in town, is going to put a restaurant in the south side of, that's practically empty, of the outlet mall.
In the south side.
On the south side, yeah. So,
That's like a ghost town down there, that far south.
I know, yeah. That might be a destination then.
Yeah.
Yes, go have your surgery or maybe eat Mexican before you have surgery, I don't know.
or have
Which-
your liposuction after you have your Mexican, right? Yeah, okay.
Well, hopefully it's not the colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Anyone, anything else for Dottie?
Yeah, I need a motion for Bill to sign the letter of agreement with Anthem to extract and give reports that can be used for insurance.
So moved.
Okay, motion and second on the floor. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Great, yeah. I think both Apex and I had assumed that by them being our broker and we had taken care of a lot of, signage, that Anthem would just take that as, the confidentiality, all of that. And no, so I guess we have to go one more. But the good thing is that probably means that our claims history is ready, which, yes, that will be good for Apex so that they can, drill it down and then get it out to bid. So things are moving on that.
Good deal.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Dottie. Have a good day. Let's jump in quick and do payroll.
I will move to approve payroll.
And I'll second.
A motion and a second to approve payroll. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Payroll is approved. Minutes. Chance to read the minutes?
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
Motion second to approve minutes. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Minutes are approved. We had a miscellaneous stack of claims.
I'll move to approve those.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second to approve claims. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. Claims are approved. Let's jump right into travel.
I was a little concerned about that NSF check from
Oh,
the Baymont on the
On the hotel tax?
hotel taxes going clear back to October of '21.
There's multiple ones that they're being worked on to be corrected with Andrew's help. There were monthly emails that went out to Commissioner Attorney and Amber Kakamo with Tourism Visitors Bureau each month on who was behind, and Andrew sent out some letters, and I'm not sure what, Baymont sent in the check, but now they've also sent in a check, like they just sent in a check last month to pay, so I'm not real sure what they're doing, but things are being worked on.
Well, then there was some money going through the state system. I don't know if the
Yeah.
commissioners knew
Oh,
about
they
that. or
probably
not.
don't know that. And I'm still working on that. I finally got
So
a
there were some that were
report.
actually paying, we think, through the state, what was it, income?
in time, in
Oh,
time
really?
But the state wasn't telling
us.
us what the payments were for, or who paid it even.
So
How would they pay it on in time when it doesn't have a category for that though, does it?
it is.
It does?
In time, it is part of in time's
It was
categories
something that was
now.
offered to the hotels to do, but
And they didn't
nobody
tell
told
us.
the county that it was being done and
Correct.
payments were made.
So I had to fill out a agreement for them to give us information because I guess it's all confidential information.
Oh,
And they just sent us a report, I believe, Thursday or Friday. I'm working on how to understand the report because it doesn't make a lot of sense on how they have it laid out. But I have a hard time getting responses from DOR. So
So, I mean, it is.
so
a-
there could be some
yeah.
that have paid and we just didn't know it.
But, and that's a problem. You would think the state could say, okay, Baymont Hotel paid $1,000 on this date towards the innkeeper tax because that's what they collect. But apparently that's not going to be that easy.
No, it's a mess.
Yeah, can't imagine. Went to the state, how do we get that back?
Well, we have it. We get an innkeeper's receipt every month, but
accounting for it.
We just don't know what it was.
but we just don't know who it was when they started paying that way. It's
Yeah.
it's a nightmare.
Okay. All righty, quickly, back to travel. We have a motion on travel.
Move to approve travel.
Motion second to approve travel. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed say no. Travel is approved. Okay, we got Brian coming in. He came in early. So Brian, come on up and grab a seat, grab a mic. I think the last one may still be on.
Morning, Brian.
Good morning, everybody. Appreciate you taking the time to hear me out here. At our last governance board meeting, we had discussed wanting to add 2 more dispatchers. When Central Communication was in its conceptual phase, Thayer Consulting did a manpower study, and they said you need to have 22 dispatchers to do everything that you're going to be doing. The previous powers that be said, oh no, 12 is fine. They cut us by 10. We currently have 18. If we can find a way to come up with the other 2, we can finally follow through on promises that were made to the city of Auburn and city of Garrett, that their police departments will not have to share a radio channel, which currently they share a talk group, and if Garrett gets real busy, the Auburn guys have to wait to be able to call in a traffic stop or something like that, and vice versa. We also, Operation Pullover that the departments do, we are currently footing the bill for a extra dispatcher for that. That keeps that extra traffic off the talk group. And it just all around is a better way to do it. Plus, we are almost able to virtually eliminate any extra overtime other than what is in their fitment schedule as is. If somebody wants to take a day off, we still have 4 dispatchers. We keep the channels split, and we're not paying anybody to come in so we can keep them split. This promise was made, like I said, in the conceptual phase, and since I've been attending the governance board meetings, that is a topic every meeting. Are we getting any closer to this? Are we getting any closer to this?
It's a real concern. from the, both the mayors and the chiefs in both Auburn and Garrett. Comes up frequently.
Yes. I spoke with Rick about this, and if you are in agreement with doing this, we would need to do an additional appropriation of $85,000 to fund 2 more dispatchers through the end of this year before we go into the next budget cycle. That covers insurance as we currently have it. We would like to have a start date of around July 1st. And hopefully by the end of the year, have those positions filled, trained, and ready to go to up our minimum staffing level from 3 dispatchers per shift to a minimum of 4, but we would have 5. The supervisors can actually supervise, because right now, Bill, you're watching everything that's going on, but you're still trying to do other things. That's what our supervisors are doing. They are working a channel, traffic stops, fires, you name it, but they need to know what's going on in the rest of the room. We can do this with 2 more dispatchers and provide a better service. And yes, I understand the cost of the dispatchers is significant, but the amount of overtime we're going to be paying out for vacation or sick time is virtually eliminated then.
What's the average work week, hour-wise, for your employees?
They work the 12-hour Pittman schedule, so 5 days one week, 2 days the next week, total of 84 hours every 2.
Every 2
84
weeks.
hours every 2 weeks, yeah.
And that's not considered overtime,
So
correct?
the standard overtime that he
Yes,
talks about is
84.
the 4.
It is the,
1 week is 44 hours, the other is 30, whatever that means.
and is overtime, that week, overtime would be paid since it's 44? It's more than 40
The
in a
4,
week?
correct, so it's just.
So we could
it's a 4.
eliminate that?
No,
Not
that would stay.
part.
That would stay.
But like if we have 2 dispatchers that want to, one on days, one on nights, wants to take a day off, currently we have to backfill that position. So then we're paying additional either straight time or additional time and a half.
Your comment, Rick?
Yes, if you go back historically, Todd, when we formed Central Communications at the state's insistence that we go to a single PSAP in each one of the counties. When the plan was put together by the previous council, the entire system was funded through our ability to put the dollar amount tax on the phone bills. Just as we were ready to turn the key, the state took that ability away from us. And only the state could put the tax onto the phone bill. So we initially lost X number of dollars that was going to manage and pay for the central communications. So that being issue number 1. Issue number 2 is when we formed the central communications, we actually took the dispatching capability away from Auburn and away from Garrett, and they lost that amount of money in their budget, and it was transferred to the county because those cities no longer had that expense. They were promised from day one that they would have their own channels, but we were never able to accomplish it. The reason that we didn't get the initial number of people that we wanted was because they took away our funding source.
Can I ask a quick question on channels? So the way I see it, you have a dispatcher or a person working there. They have the ability, though, to receive multiple channels, right? It's just they get dedicated to one. Is that the idea? And so they're always available for where, let's say Garrett has their own channel. Now, let's say that person's not busy, though, and Waterloo has a bunch of calls coming in. That person could talk to Waterloo also if they needed to, right?
Yes, our dispatchers, it is a full team effort. If Mike is working the fire channel and he has a large fire, you're helping him answer
Okay.
something, doing things in Spillman. I mean, it's a full team effort
This just guarantees coverage for channels. In other words, you can say, hey, we have someone ready for Garrett all the time.
Yes.
Okay.
Initially, this was going to be a request in next year's budget, but we do have the funding available. This would come through the public safety income tax that we have. We have that funding available. We could start it in July. The issue came up because with this Operation Pullover that the different police departments get grants for to pay the overtime to their people that want to work that. But Brian's got to put a dispatcher on while that operation is being run, of which we get no money. And if you want to change the program so that we would get money to cover that, you have to go back up to, I believe it was the federal level, to get it changed. Well, you know how much of a chance there is of that. So anyway, what we're doing will save money in our overtime expenses. It will also finally give Auburn and Garrett what they were promised from the beginning some 10 years ago or more. And it was an interesting issue that they had, they were broadcasting last week from Allen County. The typical turnover rate for a dispatcher across the nation is 20% because of the stress level that they have at the dispatch center and that what they're dealing with. And here in Allen County, they were talking there, they were lucky enough in that their turnover rate was only 12%. But it is still a turnover caused due to the stress. And they made a comment, and I don't know, I think I believe this, I'm not sure how accurate it is, but I do think it's possible that there's only about 2% of the population that has the makeup to become a dispatcher because of what they do and the stress that they're under. That their personality is what will allow them to do that job for any length of time. So I think that anything we can do to take some of the stress off of the dispatchers we've got and give Auburn and Garrett what they were promised to begin with would be an advantage to us. Plus, we'll save money in overtime. So that's all I had to say.
Okay.
To follow up on what Rick said, the industry standard career lifespan for a dispatcher is around 4 years. And most people, the majority of our people, with the exception of our brand new ones, are in excess of that, and they still love their job because they work here. We take care of them. You guys are helping take care of them.
I just handed out some 5-year service awards a couple weeks ago, so
Yes.
obviously we're above that.
So we are very blessed in this county to have people that care and have that makeup to be able to do this career. Because it's not just a job. People get in this for a career.
I would agree that the 2% is probably pretty close for the population because there's so much involved in to be able to do the position. I know from a personal level, and I mean, even as someone being involved with sheriff's department and then trying to go there to even do a dispatcher and already having half of the knowledge of what goes on, it was insane, and they didn't stay. It just wasn't a fit, but it takes a lot.
I mean, we brought in a paramedic. I thought she was going to be great, and I was on vacation, and she actually self-terminated her employment because she had no idea. I mean, she could work the back of a truck like nobody else, but could not handle what the dispatchers do. So
Yeah, it takes a special person, I think, when you're sitting in a chair trying to organize a crisis situation from a chair with all of that, you got to keep your head straight and you got to be able to divide your attention and say, okay, what's important? Like an air traffic controller.
Yes.
Not worry about this crash that's going to happen 30 seconds from now. We got to deal with this one that's 5 seconds away. And I'd be in favor of that if that's what you think you need to.
I truly believe that's what we need. Plus, I want to fulfill the promise that was made to Auburn and Garrett. They've been more than patient for the last, 11 years now. And currently, Tiffany and I are blessed with an excellent staff, and the fact that we have no open positions right now, and the current climate, Allen County, granted, they are a larger center, but they will have open positions of 20 to 30 at a time, and we don't have any. And I believe our staff is very happy. Like I said, Tiffany and I do our best to take care of them. You guys help so much to take care of them as well. If we can expand the family by 2, I think it would be great.
Just a curiosity, do we know how many dispatchers Allen County actually has full-time?
I do not, sir.
But they got 20 or 30 or 20 openings, evidently they're in the 100 person range.
They have quite a few dispatchers.
Yeah, have to be.
No, Bill is with In Digital now. It's David Bubb is their current director.
The 2%, I just trying to compare this to a road officer or a police officer that's on the road or answering calls that domestic disputes, which I understand is the most challenging cause they have, is domestic disputes, that dispatcher would be a tougher job than a police officer. And given that, how are we able to even hire any police officers? Because that evidently they're in that 2% range or maybe even less that's suitable to be a police officer.
You know, the biggest difference, Bill, in between that police officer and that dispatcher, the police officer is physically at the location of the incident. He can touch. He can actually see what he's accomplishing or not accomplishing. The poor dispatcher is sitting in a chair maybe 15 miles away trying to organize all of this and keep his head straight. And that's the real difference between those two.
Well, I can go the other way on that, though. The police officer, he goes out there every day knowing, and his wife knowing, that he may not come back. I don't think a dispatcher is going to get shot or ran over by a speeding car sitting at his station.
No,
at Central.
by no means,
So
sir.
that's, I'm just trying to make a point that the 2% I have a doubt.
I will take nothing away from a sheriff's deputy, police officer, town marshal. I was a reserve police officer myself. There are many, many police officers that could not come into dispatch and do what we do, but vice versa.
Well,
A whole different skill set.
and I agree. I'm talking about percentages.
Yes.
I'm talking about percentages here. I'm not talking about what one can do compared to the other one. I'm talking about percentage of difficulty of that job, percentage of liability in that job, percentage of danger in that job. And I don't think there's any comparison there. But, and given, yeah, it takes a special person to do that. I'm just trying to, I guess, not make light of what our police officers have to face every day, day in and day out.
I think both positions have a very low percentage of a population that could actually do both, either a deputy, road deputy, or dispatcher. I don't think that there is a lot of the population that has it in them to do either job.
I think one of the things is it's a team, and that dispatcher feels just as much anguish, if not more, because they're not there. And I agree with Bill. I wouldn't be a cop for any amount of money. It isn't worth being, first time someone spit on me or something, I'd probably be in jail myself. So in the dispatcher I couldn't do, because I've tried to do a little bit of simulation with like flight,
Yeah.
air traffic control. And I'll tell you what, when you're not there, but we always laugh at controllers because we say, hey, when I'm in an ice storm or something and I'm about ready to crash and they're telling me what to do, I'm like, the worst thing that can happen to them is they fall 3 foot off their chair. I fall 30,000 feet out of the sky. But
Right.
they are part of it, and you can hear that concern in their voice, and they want, so I think it's a team effort.
Right, and the
it's
most
very
recent-
stressful when you're not there. But then again, like Bill said, when you pull up someone and you're going to get shot, or you don't know what's there.
Right.
I see both sides of it
Yeah.
as being very stressful.
Absolutely.
As a team effort, it's very stressful.
Right.
for both sides,
Yeah,
All high stress,
absolutely.
just a different kind.
just different kind.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
Two different types of stress.
Yeah.
And it is a truly, we look at it from a family aspect. I mean, the officers, if they have a little bit, they will stop out. I've got one dispatch crew that if nothing's going on, they'll throw a pizza in the oven, message you guys, hey, we got pizza out here if you need to stop and grab something to eat real quick. It is a true family affair, teamwork. And we just want to give them the most support we possibly can in the
Right.
field.
Well, I'd entertain a motion.
Go ahead, Mike, I've already done them all.
I would move to approve hiring 2 additional dispatchers for central communications, and letting Brian go forward with the request for additional appropriation.
Second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Make good use of them.
I will, sir, and I greatly appreciate you guys being on board with this, and we'll do our best to make you guys proud.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Brian. Okay, everyone. We have the DART.
We do. This is for the de-obligation. So this would be for calendar year 2022, and it's the amount of federal funds that DART was awarded for their grant agreements, but they didn't actually use. So they really only had they had 3 different awards. For 2022, they had one that they didn't use their entire amount of money. So that was for a federal operating fund, and that would be anything not in purchase of a vehicle. So all of their operations, wages, all that stuff. And that was $34,871 of the grant that they did not need.
So what happens with that money?
It stays with the feds and the state. So like they have to turn in, they come in, Bill signs those invoices. So once they submit, then they reimburse. So they just won't ever submit to get that money. So it never actually made it here to begin with.
Okay.
So it's just telling them that they don't need that for 2022. So put it back in their pot and go forward
We need a motion to approve.
for him, for Bill to
Signature.
sign.
Make a motion that we have the president sign the de-obligation for the DART.
Second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Yep.
Okay. Voila.
I have one more thing.
What you got?
Okay.
I was hoping you
So,
did.
Yes, I do. And this might take some discussion, and I'm not sure if it can be decided today or not. So this has to do with the fire inspection, annual inspection thing for DCC. I'd sent you all an email because Shannon had tried to work with them to see if we could get a deal. And it appears as they didn't really lower the DCC part of the agreement. But if we go with Corson, then the jail part is going to be decreased. So their proposal, depending on what you want to do, is if you really don't want them to go with Johnson Control, and they understand, and you want them to go with Corson, then they're asking for you guys to pay the difference from what they would have paid with Johnson Controls to Corson, and cover any 20% of any parts and labor if they actually had to have work done, because they would have to use Johnson Controls in the future for replacement. So Yeah, I don't know, the other part of it that I'm not sure, I don't know if we don't do both, then what that means for the jail. Last year, the jail paid a little over $4,400 for their portion, and now they're taking theirs down to just under $3,100.
$1,300 savings.
But
How much would community corrections be then?
2,371. So 2,371.
So it's about a wash because wasn't the contract with Johnson around 1,100 on the?
Right.
So maybe we keep Johnson Controls for the inspection part, because if we're gonna have to pull them in later anyway, if Corson, or Corson, is that the name?
Corson,
They say, hey, there's something wrong here, now we need to call Johnson, well, why wouldn't you just hire Johnson for the inspection and then source the parts ourselves if we have to? Does that make sense? I mean,
So you're thinking you could still source a part for
Yeah.
$200 that they're trying to upsell you for 800 or something?
yeah.
You're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's, my thought there is that it seems odd, or seems kind of anti-productive to throw a third party in that's gonna have to contact the party we got rid of anyway.
Yeah.
okay, so I have a question just because I don't understand this part. So they say that if anything needs changed, you have to use Johnson. But is that, you have to use Johnson so that you can have like their backup and warranty? Or if you go with Corson, can you get the parts and have your own, like somebody else fix it?
Well, that was my next thing is if there's something real critical with the product that we can't source out ourselves, especially if it needs programmed. Give you an idea, anyone can replace a screen. Plug and play, it learns its programming from the base unit. But if the main brain fails, has to be replaced, now you have programming involved that's probably proprietary to Johnson. In other words, they have the computer and the way to flash the computer that Corson doesn't have, or I can't do because I don't have access to that software. So I would probably tell you it's probably better to have Johnson Control and then just be honest with them, say we're gonna source all the parts we can ourselves. But they give us the diagnosis, hey, this is what's wrong. Get their quote and then try to beat their quote, I guess. Because I don't think there's anything that says we can't replace the parts ourselves, we just can't do the inspection. Get Larry, or if Larry gets the new guy, that we
Right, the
can
new
get some
guy.
training, bring him in and,
Yeah, that's a
so.
great possibility.
How much is our contract with the jail gonna be? We're gonna keep Corson for the jail though?
I can't answer that.
Well, let me ask you this.
I'm not
What
sure.
kind of fire suppression controls do we have in the jail? Is it Johnson Controls? Is it a Simplex system, which is owned by Johnson now? Because that'd be a good question, is why are we using Corson even for the jail
Yeah,
if it's Simplex equipment, which Johnson Control has?
yeah,
Full
maybe
rights
use
to.
Johnson for both.
Yeah, maybe they'll give us a deal.
Good question.
Just something to think about. I mean, if their system's a Simplex, that's their wheelhouse. I mean, they own it.
Right,
So the way I understand it, they own Simplex now.
Let me see what I can find out.
got their,
Named a complex from Simplex.
maybe we need to get the sheriff over. He's available.
Yeah, I'd like to know what system we have there.
I'm asking right now.
I know that Simplex has been in the business forever. I mean, so many systems that are Simplex. I don't even know who else is in that industry.
The printout of the number of units to be inspected on central dispatch. So we have a number here: control panels, duct detectors, heat detectors, pull stations, smoke detectors, notification devices.
I wonder if that system's more complex than it needs to be for a building that's occupied 24/7. You know, I know we have to have water, fire suppression, and all that, but
That there's the jail numbers in there. I don't,
The maintenance at jail is checking for us
okay.
on the type.
this is for the jail.
Yeah, that's a jail. That's the new quote, 3,100 plus.
The Corson for community corrections, their original quote, they came down like $500.
Yeah.
They went from 28 to 23.
I think that would tell us something too. I mean, if the jail is not simplex, maybe Corson is a better deal. But again, to hire them and then to turn around and have to go back and pay triple retail to
Yeah.
problem for me.
So far, I know that the jail is planning to keep Corson, and they're still trying to answer. We'll just have to wait until the maintenance
Back.
guy can verify, he's verifying right now and then we'll report back.
Okay.
While we're waiting on that, any other miscellaneous topics? Anyone?
How'd the meeting go with Pranger on Sunny Meadows?
Yeah, with Nick Pranger and his foreman, Jason. And, yeah, we took a pretty good look at all of that. And, well, they're going to give us a pricing on what it would take to do the job and what their commitment would be as far as towards that job. Of course, Jamel Flooring is going to do the flooring for us. I think that'll be 100%. My take on that was. I'm going to rearrange those showers. They need to be turned and set on a different wall so they're more accessible. Would involve closing off 2 windows. Both of those showers have 2 windows in them, big windows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Odd
they're,
for a,
yeah. The one wasn't meant originally to be a shower room.
Oh.
I think it was a conversion of some sort. And
Yeah.
maybe both of them, actually. Might have had a tub in them originally, who knows? But anyway, so that would be part of it. Close 2 of the windows off. The other 2, which are big windows, need replaced. And you talked about getting ventilation, because the one has none, the other ventilation to be found down into the basement. So seeing the size of those windows are fairly large, I made a suggestion that we put a bulkhead in at the top of those windows, put a ventilator right straight out, rather than going out through the brick.
great.
Reduce the size of the window and.
Frame it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frame and exhaust, which would work really well.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Shrink the window size and put the vent there.
Put the vent on top.
Yeah, you don't want that moist air going in the basement. That's a worse place for it.
Yeah, you don't, I mean, it's a big basement, it can take a certain amount of
Yeah.
that, but still, you don't want it down there. And it's just not the proper place to put it. Say, turn those showers, and the windows have to be closed off, that's because the showers would go right up over those windows. So close those off, I don't know if we'd masonry them on the outside or just put some steel panels in, inserts or something. Maybe just steel panel inserts, I don't, it's on the back side.
Sure.
And they actually face each other, those wings that go back.
Okay.
So they're not something that's going to be seen hardly ever by anybody other than maintenance or maybe the residents. So that's kind of where we're at on that. And you'll get us some numbers. He wanted to try to get another contractor involved because they're so busy. He was hoping to get another contractor involved to do a lot of the basic work, I guess, I'm not sure. And I suggested Frank Nestor, but I haven't been able to get a hold of Frank because he's in Florida on spring break with his family. So, and he doesn't return calls on spring break with the family. And I don't know how busy he is, but he'd be a good pairing with Pranger to do that project if we can get him. If we can't, anybody else we can find, you might recommend, we'll go some other direction. That's where we're at on that. Was able to catch Judge Grimm Thursday. And we had a little walkabout and looked at some different things, and he's kind of on board with what we're thinking. We got to get with Judge Carpenter and Judge Squealer yet. Judge Carpenter's actually out of the country for 2 weeks.
Who? Judge who?
Judge Brown.
Brown, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Brown, okay.
Brown. I went back a couple of
No,
decades.
no, I was like, wait, we get another judge? I was just,
Yeah, Judge Brown.
okay.
So I'll get with him when he gets home and see what he thinks about the plan. I would like to do a little field trip upstairs when we have a chance. Maybe we could do it now, actually.
Fine with me.
Just look at a couple of things up there where we get that off. So why don't we recess? We'll go take a little field trip. And then we'll do our pledge and break. Sound good? Okay, let's do that.
Danielson. Mike's on. Susan caught it, I guarantee it. Anything.
Now mic's on.
Wax on, Danielson.
Okay, we are back in session. And Mr. Parker, what you got today?
Excuse me. I ordered some sunshine. It's here today.
Hey, good deal.
Yeah, it is a nice day, by the way. So, first thing I have for you guys, I got a unofficial detour route established for us for an NDOT project. Tried to get some different corridors or an extra corridor. Several emails back and forth with NDOT, and fortunately, I'm only going to get to one. So this is the, NDOT's going to redo State Road 327 from US 6 to Steuben County. And so they got us an unofficial detour route. Since that's such a long corridor, I tried to separate our corridors out for our unofficial, and that didn't happen. So they give me one corridor from 4 to 6 that I could choose. So I chose that. So we got County Road 15 coming from 4 to County Road 8, back to County Road 15, to County Road 10, to County Road 13, because it all just kind of does this. There's no good way, I'll get it to you. So they sent this to me for all 3 commissioners to sign. You can see our, so this is 327. So here's our unofficial detour.
What does unofficial mean, Ben? What do you mean by that?
This is not the official detour for NDOT. NDOT has their official detour marked here, which is US 6, I-69, State Road 4.
Okay.
So with the unofficial, it's my job to go through and try to pick the route that I think the voters are going to take the
Okay.
most. With that, any damages that occur to this corridor, we can seek refunding from NDOT, reimbursement for any damages to it.
Yeah.
But if I miss it, we don't get none. So they run over here, if they run 5 north of 12 or 16, see, I tried to include that corridor and then this corridor, and, you know, they just won't go for it. So these are gravels. Most of this is paved and a little piece of gravel. The gravels is relatively a little bit cheaper for us to fix up if they get tore up, so we picked the paved route.
Okay.
So whether we hit it or we miss it, some people will not run gravels and other people will run whatever. So it's a toss-up on the unofficial detours.
How long is that supposed to take? You got a completion date? A chance?
It was in the email. It's not on this. And I'd have to look again, Bill. I don't remember.
Okay.
This is just, I only brought up the unofficial detour. So, but they did go through with me on this. I'm okay with it. It's for all 3 commissioners to sign.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to sign the unofficial detour for the, was it 327 that they're working on?
Yes.
State Road
For
327.
the 327 repair. Second that, Mike? Okay.
A motion and a second for the 327 detour. Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. That's in my neighborhood, by the way.
Yep.
I'm going to have to go east or west of the county line and then south. We can't use the county line for a detour because it doesn't get up past the curves on 327 at the north end. There's no way to get over to the county line.
And honestly, I think a lot of the traffic's going to run that County Line Road, but that's Noble County's jurisdiction.
Yeah. And that road is coming apart. Yeah, it needs attention.
Ooh, excuse me.
I get back, Bill, I can look up that email and I can send you them dates when they plan on working on it. I don't remember. I looked at it, but I don't remember.
Need that.
No, Ben will email it all to me.
Okay, back to Ben.
Mr. Parker,
Yeah, we've been waiting on that reconstruction. That road is, the edges are coming apart. They did remediate that, fix it well, 2 years ago, I guess it was, some of it, but it's, and it's,
327?
yeah, and it's narrow. You meet a semi on that, they're a fog line to center line.
I believe they're gonna do an FDR on that,
Yeah.
so that will.
What's FDR?
Full depth reclamation, so they're gonna go in and till that, put Portland in wider, that way they can widen that road out.
Yeah, they did that north from Steuben County line up to 20, about
Correct.
3 years ago. And excellent. That road is really nice up through there, but it took them friggin' year. Left it set the whole summer in dirt.
Right.
Yeah, they tore it up and left it dirt for the whole summer.
Yeah, when they do that reclamation with that concrete, that Portland's gotta go down and set up, and
Yeah,
it does actually turn it back to gravel or road for a while until that.
yeah. But it's a good road, man. It's a nice road. So, okay, what else you got, Ben?
I sent you guys an email last week for the towers for the new highway department. For the 2 quotes I received, I did request a 3rd quote from Auburn AES that I never did receive. I got several times I reached out to them and did not ever get anything back. On the same hand, I still haven't gotten back the specifications for the, I need a Cat 5, Cat 6 cable, and then even the specifications for the dish. So I had the 2 people that quoted a large enough dish that the tower would support it. In that email I sent you, you can see there's quite a substantial price difference between the 2. J&K being the lower of the 2, I think would be a good tower from what I understand. I spoke quite extensively with Adam on that. And he said it's pretty much apples for apples on the 2 towers. The only thing that he recommended, and thinking about it, and I made a comment in our email, is I think maybe we'd be better off to go up a little bit bigger on that tower, just in case we ever do have to put another antenna on it. Without re-quoting it, Adam said approximately up around $10,000 additional cost for that tower. Will we ever need it? That's the million-dollar question. I don't know. If communications change, if we got to go more 800 but still have the VHF, that's a possibility. I don't know. It may, but right now the tower, the way it's quoted, is the bare bones for
Well,
the VHF and for the internet
yeah.
antenna. So the ERS quote was, I got it here. Did I tell you right? $185,070. J&K quote was $116,156.36.
Negotiate that 36 cents.
I know it's,
Over the top.
so,
So the upgrade was 126.
How tall is that tower?
120 foot.
big spread. Read it.
I do too.
Something's missing when there's,
But you know, you look at the,
or something got added.
you look at the differences. What did I do with my notes here? So both quotes meet the EIA TIA 22G specifications. Both of them meet that. Both of them are wind speed at 90 mile an hour, ice load of 1 inch, 3-second gust, 40 mile an hour, deflections based upon 60 mile an hour. Them's both the same in them quotes. Exposure C is the same. The only difference is the tower ratings. J&K's got 92.9% tower rating, and then ERS was a little bit different.
What does a tower rating mean?
What the tower can hold, where it's at its compactity. So see, they're at 87.4, so it's a little bit less, but J&K's using waveguides on their tower,
Yeah.
where ERS isn't. And Adam tells me if they put the waveguides on there, that tower rating would be the same as theirs. A bigger bracket mechanism, from my understanding, that secures the cable to the tower, from the top and bottom.
Sounds like it's apples to apples, pretty much.
As far as I can tell, guys, both towers are solid steel. Both have got a galvanized finish. So one's not hollow, one's not solid. Those are the same. J&K's company is comfortable with our soil samples that we sent, where ERS was okay with it, but they would change the footprint for the size of the pad. He did not send me any specs on that. It's really the only difference in here, he made quite a few mistakes on his quote, and I questioned it in a prior email, but when he updated it and sent me the specs, he sent me the original quote again, because it's saying in here, install up to 9 antennas. Well, we ain't putting 9 antennas on there, and that was a little bit deceiving with ERS. I mean, it's been back and forth, and it's been, J&K's been a lot more proactive, very quick to respond between the two. The other thing I like too is that J&K's price, when we talked to them a while back, is still the same as today. ERS raised theirs over $3,000.
Kind of surprised that J&K didn't jump it up a little bit, but I mean, that's a good deal. That's a good sign, I think.
I'm by far no tower expert. I asked a lot of questions. I went from spec to spec, tried my best to compare and ask questions, and you know, it sounds like for the price difference, J&K's is a good tower. I think, from my understanding, talking to Adam, I think we would be fine with it. I don't see no reason why we wouldn't, especially for that amount of cost difference. And that would even be with adding a little bit stronger tower, we could have a potential for a little bit more future at some point.
I'd entertain a motion.
I will move that we accept the tower quote from J&K.
Second.
A motion and a second on the floor. Are there any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Ayes got it.
Now, would you like me to seek a little heavier tower in that quote? He's got it.
Yeah, the 10,000 or approximately.
Yeah, Bill's got to sign it.
I think that's probably wise. Better to have a little extra capacity there.
You want me to have that just not to exceed 10,000 on that? If it does, bring it back to you guys? Is that how would you
Let's
like me to
do that. Let's do that.
Okay.
Not to exceed.
Bill does.
So funds for that are already set aside
Okay.
in the ARPA funding.
Good deal.
There's 500,000 for a tower.
Okay.
He said, and when I spoke to him, they're approximately 3 months out if we was to order now. So that'd be,
That'd be perfect. Because the building should be up by then. Not
we're
really
looking at
about
July.
getting into the tower, doing that building construction, because it's fairly close. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. What else you got, Ben?
Last thing I got, I sent out last week, I sent to all of you, including Andrew. This is the contract for the LPA NDOT for our construction and construction inspection for Camera 56. Sent this out, I doubt he's had time to look at it, 'cause I see he was off on vacation. But just so you guys know, it's out, it's ready. I did review it, everything looks fine in this contract. The only thing I hate to see, but it's where we're at, till NDOT improves the funding, is that their match is not including the updated cost estimates. So hopefully, that will be awarded when we go to bid at the first of the year. But there's a possibility, depending on their funding, it may not be. If that's the case, we'll have to put substantial more funds towards our match if we move forward. If NDOT don't participate, I don't know if we can push the lighting out. I'm not sure. I haven't done a federal aid, so I'm not, through the paperwork part, I'm not real familiar with it. But it sounds like if the funds are there, they'll participate in it. So this is, this paper that I was sent, I can give to Andrew if you wanted it. But I sent you an email, but you can have this. This is all DocuSign now. So, and it will be just for the president to sign. So when we act on that, we'll just have to make a motion that you guys approve Bill to sign. That
I
was
don't need the
sent,
paper copy. I do see the email here that came in on Thursday.
okay, so if you want the paper, I'll give it to you, but
No, it's okay. I'll keep it on here.
this was sent out Wednesday last week, so they may have sent you a DocuSign already. I don't know. A lot of times they'll do that when they launch that. But if not, when you go in to sign this, you'll have to, there's a link in there, you'll have to re-request another DocuSign. They're only good for 48 hours.
Yeah.
So then you'll have to go back in and request another one. I noticed in that email as well that NDOT asked when this would be going to a meeting for approval, so I emailed back that will be this coming Monday. So that way everybody had time to review it. If you guys want to look through it, you all have a copy of it. Feel free to read through it. It just pretty much covers everything as far as our being okay on our ADA transition and Iran and pollution requirements, and also says in there that if we don't comply, that they'll pull the money out of my MVH funding. Kind of surprised
You are
some.
meaning, are you meaning this Monday or on the 10th?
This coming Monday.
On the 10th, okay.
Yes.
On the 10th.
Making sure.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure, when I sent that to Andrew, I see he was on vacation and I didn't want to rush him on any of that either. So we have some time, so next Monday will be fine. We'll act on it. If you guys got any questions in the meantime, or Andrew, let me know and I'll get you an answer. The next thing I got working on, just a heads up, is the construction inspection contract with Butler Fairman Seifert. Was sent to me last week as well. I've been reading through that. I found a couple of corrections. I'll get that back to Butler Fairman for corrections. And then that will go to NDOT for their approval. And then it will go through our legal and then you guys, because if NDOT don't approve it, don't really pay us to review a lot of it.
What was that on? I'm sorry.
That will be with Butler Fairman Seifert and us for the construction inspection contract for the County Road 56 project.
Just the engineering inspection.
Yes. So once I get through that, I could, once they send me the corrected one too, Andrew, if you would like, when I send that to NDOT, I could go ahead and forward that to you, give you some time. That way you can review it, and I can send it to you guys as well in case you wanted to read through it. But just know if NDOT makes any corrections in that, it will have to be amended.
Is Butler probably drafting the contract and using a standard AIA type contract or something like that?
Yeah, the only thing I had corrected, they had the stopping distance of the project not correct where it should be. It should match the NDOT LPA contract. So they had to change that. And then there's a typo in one of the commissioners' names. So pretty minor, but we need it corrected. But so we'll have that coming up here soon as well. The last thing I got it, at the end of last week, I got the Butler Fairman sent me the engineering stuff for County Road 51 for the Todd Land project.
Oh,
I'll send that out to you guys this week. You'll have that to review, and then however they want to move, or you guys want to move, I'll copy everybody here in it. That way you have it.
And then I suppose I should just forward that to Jordan Huttenlocker, the attorney for Todd Land, when that comes in? Or is there any reason to keep it no reason
No, I
to
don't
not
think so.
hand that out? We wanted them to have that information anyway.
right.
I got a few questions for Butler Fairman that I want to ask, and then I'll put that in my email when I send it out. That way we're all on the same page and understand what their scope of work was for. And they're talking to the engineer Friday when he sent that. It sounds like they're pretty much thinking they're going to have to acquire some right-of-way. So there's a lot of right-of-way expense in there. He said, I don't think there's no way you can do that without inquiring right away.
Did you call that an engineer's estimate? Receipt, okay.
Yes, and not to an exceed cost is what it is. They want a lump sum not to exceed payment. But I'll get that forward out to you guys as well as soon as I get my questions answered, and I'll include that all together and send it to you.
Okay, sounds good.
And I think that's all I have for you guys.
Okay. Anybody have anything for Ben? Sounds like you're,
Well, I did want to bring something up that Ben and I had talked about with regard to signing certain forms. Ben, we talked about certain state forms as they want you to sign as highway superintendent. I believe I looked up the statute at that time, and it indicated that the county commissioners could vote to authorize you to sign some forms. But that, as far as, I mean, I don't know unless anybody else has some institutional knowledge here of whether or not that was ever done. You're not necessarily authorized to sign those unless the county commissioners would vote and approve that.
I know the 56 project was, back when we started the right-of-way process.
They
We had
authorized
so
you
mu-
to just.
Yeah, they asked me just anything that was out of the norm of the process to bring to their attention. So that's why I brought the mitigation credits to their attention.
Oh, because there was a little bit extra expense.
That was
that
extra
out of the
expense
norm.
out of the norm of the project. Because the rest of the project's pretty much just been engineering, permitting, and then we knew we was gonna have to acquire the properties down 56. But the mitigation credits was something that really wasn't the original scope of the project, and it was a cost to the county.
That makes sense. I just brought it up as, I didn't
No,
know if
that's
you
fine,
wanted to
that's
deal
fine.
with that going forward, or just project by project, you would come to them and say, hey,
Right.
authorize me if you want to. Okay.
Because most generally, all the permits we get are 401s, 404s for like our bridges. I primarily sign all those to keep our projects moving. Normally, I just bring to the commissioners an expense or something that's gonna cost the county money or something's out of that scope of work I bring.
Okay.
Is what I've always done historically. But the 56 one, they made a motion quite a while ago for me to proceed with that.
Yeah. Well, the statute says in the state form, so long as the commissioners authorize you to do it, you can do it.
yeah.
I think that's a good way to do it, is just bring us the big stuff, and if there's something cleaned up, just go ahead and sign it type.
I didn't know if you wanted to have some official motion on that going forward.
Like
should-
for all projects,
Can't we just do it per project, in other words?
You can do it
However
per
you want to
project
do
as
it.
far as I'm concerned.
I like to have that oversight still
Okay.
of, not just blanket sign. Not that I don't trust Ben, but
I'll bring
there's
it
a
all you
reason
want
why.
and let you sign it.
Well, there's a reason why people hire us as three commissioners is to look at this and make sure we're,
Sure.
that way just one person isn't, oh yeah, that's done,
Most of my stuff going forward, you're gonna know what's coming
Yeah,
and going.
well, you've always been good about that, so I think we just do it by per project, in my opinion,
Sounds good.
Yep, fine with me.
Okay.
that will suffice both sides
Good.
for the state and everything.
Okay.
Perfect.
Anything else?
I've got Bridge 132, it's moving forward. Hopefully I'll be getting something from USI on that soon, we can put that out to bid. And then the same for Bridge 132 is on County Line Road. And then Bridge 57's on County Road 40, United's working on that one. Ohio approved our signage, so I got the Ohio permit to sign over there, so that should be coming soon as well. Hopefully we can get those projects out, get done this summer yet as well.
Where are we at on the culvert for
Yes, that should be here this week,
this week?
should be. I contacted them last Thursday and asked where my culvert was, because it was supposed to have been last week or this week, and I haven't got an answer back yet. It's not St. Regis, it's the firm that St. Regis buys them that pipe from, because they don't make those,
Right, right.
because it's a structural plate. Hopefully, this week, Tim Knott's kind of penciled in. He
Oh.
knows it's coming. So he should be able to get on it fairly quick once we receive delivery.
How long will it take to assemble that?
Don't know, never done one.
They've done one. Now, will he have to lift the plates and set them in position, or can we do that?
we're gonna put it together up on the road and set the pipe in whole.
Okay. But the panels, you pick those up with the payloader or the excavator, or, because I assume they're pretty heavy, each panel?
I'm planning on, if we have to, we'll take the mini excavator out
Mini.
there and put them together with that.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no lugs on there, so we're gonna lay the cables down on the road, build the pipe on top of the cables. That way, when we're ready, we can pull them up, take both excavators and turn it and set it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of learning experience. I haven't done structural plate pipe, so we've always just had rolled pipe with a band,
Right, right.
so it will be,
Screwdrivers out.
oh, I know it. Well, we
Yeah.
got some of them,
Mini impacts.
impact guns, yes. Yeah, because actually I'd like to pick up a couple more for that project and then to have on the hand, and I reached out to ask what the torque specifications was, so I can buy the cording
Uh-huh.
tools. I don't know if we're gonna need, if I can get a 3/8 impact, if I gotta have a 1/2 inch impact, I don't know. So,
I would say a 1/2 inch at least. I don't,
Battery powered tool.
it is. Man, if you'd spend out there hand ratcheting, it'd be nuts.
Good for you though, Ben.
Yeah. so-
somebody'd really be unhappy.
Yeah.
That wants to use that road sometime in the near future.
Yeah, it's unfortunate it happened. Like I said, that pipe coroner's inspection report was good for 20 years. That was 8 years ago that report was done, so. It's just, that stuff's underwater and underground, there's no guarantee. I mean, you can just do the best you can do, and
Right, right.
that was one that just failed.
Okay.
New sign truck, good? Everything
Yeah, they still have a little bit of issue with the snowplow wiring.
good? Okay.
We're gonna deal with that as a little time goes on yet for this next winter. But other than that, yes, everything's fine.
Nice looking truck.
Yeah. What'd you decide on the Cummins diesel that's got the rod bearing
I'm waiting on some quotes.
and quotes?
Our newest, single axle truck is at 82,000 miles on it, lost rod bearing.
That's hard to believe. That's pretty rare for a diesel to spin a rod bearing with that low mileage.
I suggest, it's off a warranty, but I suggested Ben to reach out to Cummins and see if they would
I would have.
partner with us to do,
They're.
'Cause we can
Cummins is
prove our
usually-
main-
They're
but-
pretty good, usually pretty good about policy adjustments.
yeah, that kind of miles. I mean, come on.
Improve our maintenance on it, right?
Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah,
just
it's all
serviced,
documented.
it was just serviced, I think like 3 weeks before that failed. And there's an oil sample that was pulled on it.
It's
We
got
tested
oil
oil samples, so the oil sample prior to that was clear. I don't remember what the mileage was, but 'cause I was asking the
Show
shop,
high
about it,
copper or anything?
didn't show nothing.
Wow.
So I don't know what happened or why.
It's just rare for a low mileage diesel to spin a rod bearing. Especially the kind of duty we use, marine environment and sucking up water or something.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
it shouldn't happen.
No, not at those kind of mileage.
Yeah,
but,
I,
we get quotes back from, that truck's actually over at Bell. That's one of them we sent out. And then I asked Dusty to reach out as
did
far
you,
as Cummins, as far as helping with payment or even a engine swap or something possibly.
yeah. Supply the parts at least or
Worth asking.
something.
So I've got, Bell's getting us a quote for a reman or an overhaul. See which is better, that, and it's gonna also depend on availability
Right.
of a reman versus an overhaul.
Okay. Anything else? Ben? I think you're all done then.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll catch up a little bit later.
All right, I'll be there.
Okay. Thanks, Ben.
Okay, I don't know if this will help or not, but with the fire thing, Simons, does that, S-I-E-M,
Siemens.
Siemens? Okay. That is
Siemens?
what they have. They were not familiar with Simplex.
Fine.
So I don't know if that helps, but that's,
Now that I know that's Siemens, maybe it's better to do Corson. And, because they can handle the Siemens, and then the
We could-
Simplex, we can handle I'll be happy to take on any panel changes or anything. I'll be happy to run out there with my tools if we can diagnose, but if it gets, just so we understand, if it gets to be the head unit that goes bad, then I can't help because I can't have the proper tools. But I would probably lean towards Corson at that point to handle both sites. And unify, just make it one-stop shopping too. But
Simpler.
I'll make a motion that we engage Corson to take over the community corrections and keep them with the jail at the new reduced rate.
At the new price. Yeah.
And you are going to help cover the difference for community corrections?
Yeah, I think what we have to do is, since we're getting a better deal at the jail, I mean, they're both county buildings. I don't know how we do that for accounting, but because it's in their budgets, I assume.
The difference is community corrections is they're limited with their grant dollars.
Okay.
So like they figured in what they
Yeah.
were used to.
But we're saving at the jail, so I would.
Right.
part of
So
the
it
motion-
offsets in my mind, but.
Yeah, and my motion would include that we cover the additional expense for community corrections since we're receiving a discount at the jail. That make sense?
I'll still second that.
Okay.
Okay.
That's giving the credit from the jail to
Two
the
community corrections, basically, yes.
Because they've got
Yes.
limited budget. Okay.
A motion and a second. Are there any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Worst case scenario, if it goes crazy on us next year, we'll just re-engage Johnson, but I'd like to see how they can do for us.
Was that a 1 year?
I assume they're 1 year.
The question
Because wasn't it
was
a
gonna
5-year
be
at
a
first?
5.
Yeah, they revamped.
But they were willing to drop it down
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, I
why I
don't
was
want to
thinking.
sign the 5-year. I'm sorry, I need to retract that. If it's okay, that's
Okay,
fine.
it's 1 year, okay.
You finish?
Yep.
At least you can get out of it if it doesn't work out well.
Yeah.
Where is Susan?
Thank you. That is all I have.
Is that Andrew? Anything for us?
No. I wasn't told of any new lawsuits while I was out.
Oh, come
Seemed like they
on.
were coming and tort claims notices or lawsuits were coming pretty frequently there, but let's see. I think you'd heard about the suit filed by this Jesse Napier
Yep.
lawsuit against the sheriff and 4 officers. I'll have to see what all went on while I was out, but they were going to have a Liberty Mutual, who apparently is the liability carrier for the sheriff's office, but Travelers is for us, for the rest of the county. I don't know, but it must be.
Yeah.
So Liberty Mutual, their person that, like, I guess I would say adjuster, had reached out to me before I went on vacation, and they were going to be handling it, farming it out to a law firm in Indy, I think. So we'll let them handle that. We don't want to interfere anyway in that sort of thing, because you can void insurance coverage if you try to do something yourself through your attorneys. So, yep, let them handle it. So I think we're okay on that.
Great.
It sounds like the sheriff's office and the officers are denying that anything happened.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, their side of the story makes more sense to me right now.
Okay. Todd, anything? Mike?
Nevermore.
I just got one thing. I will not be here on the 17th. So I don't know if you guys want to carry on without me, or if it's going to be light like it's been the last couple of weeks.
Do we have payroll or anything that needs done?
We could skip a meeting. Just saying, but it's kind of up to you guys.
That would be the only thing, but that can be done
Somebody sign
ahead of
it.
time, yeah. Mike can come in and do it, and then it just gets put in the next meeting.
Take it off if well, I guess we need to, well, our normal meetings are always we have normal. If we don't show up, do we have to advertise that we're not going to be available?
I will. I send notice to the paper and I will put on here that the meeting was
Take it off
canceled.
if you want. I mean, there's nothing pressing.
Yeah, me too.
If there's something pressing that needs signed, just give us a call.
Yeah, okay. Or we
So
can
what
do
date
it
was
the
that we're taking off?
17th,
17th.
April 17 is off, okay.
party on, Garth.
Yeah,
All right.
okay.
I like Bill.
You like,
Yeah, take some more time off.
anything else? Anyone have anything? We're open for anybody? Okay, hearing nothing, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That's right.